Hi, this is my 6-step plan to eliminate fossil energy by 2030. This is a huge problem. Fossil energy is over 86% of our global energy supply. The huge subsidies to the fossil energy industry, and huge problem. CO2 emissions are the principal cause of warming, and there are obvious economic damages from this. The oppressive heat we've seen this summer causing fatalities. Warm air holds more moisture, so we get heavy rains causing flooding. And there are non-obvious damages. Ocean plankton down 40% since 1950, recent study. That's where a good part of the oxygen comes from these ocean plants. Incremental sea level rise, a few millimeters a year. You don't notice it, but it adds up. We've got to solve this problem. So let's frame the issue and find the venue. The UN is a political organization. It's not been able to reconcile the diverse economic interests of its members. This is an economic problem, not a political problem. So we need to find an international organization whose focus is economics. Could it be the WTO, the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund? Let's create a plan and find the organization to implement it. My choice is the WTO. It administers world trade, the biggest economic engine, $40 trillion a year in goods and services. And it works by negotiating the best outcome for all. Take a look at their website. And also, environmental and sustainable development is now a mainstream concern, as it should be. So the WTO is uniquely positioned to initiate and oversee the transition of fossil fuel. And that, in fact, will guarantee its own future. So here's the plan. Let's take a look at the energy costs per megawatt hour for all the clean energies and make them equal to the cheapest fossil fuel energy. You can see in this data from the Energy Information Administration that the clean energies are all much more expensive than the cheapest fossil energy. We need to level that cost. And that means create a subsidy for each of the clean energies so that they can compete on a price basis with fossil fuels. And then we have to agree on targets to reduce fossil energy and replace it with clean energy. So here's the targets that I've selected. Start with coal. It's the dirtiest, the worst emissions. Let's get it out of the marketplace and replace it with clean energy. Now, how are we going to do this? We have to take this subsidy for each of the clean energies and assign a market share so that the overall cost is the lowest possible. And that means that the lower cost, the least subsidy technologies should have the higher market share, and the more expensive ones have a lower market share. And that would overall achieve the lowest total cost. Now, those numbers will change as volumes increase, but here's where they are right now. Geothermal has a subsidy under this plan of $36 per megawatt hour. So we would assign a market share of 15%, as an example. Then we need to raise the money and buy the clean energy. I mentioned global trade. By 2015, imports-exports should be $45 trillion annual value. A small percent surcharge will raise a very large amount of money, and WTO can use this fund to purchase clean energy in every local economy. Here in New Mexico, where I live, we have solar, we have wind, we have geothermal. Those should be our main energy supply, not the fossil fuels that we're currently using. So WTO could buy and resell in the local market clean energy to be competitive against the fossil fuel energy. Now, if you're in Florida, it's going to be wave energy, maybe wind. Every region will have its own best mix of clean energy, and that's what needs to be done. How does this add up? Actually, the WTO surcharge on trade that's earmarked to eliminate fossil fuels will trigger a massive amount of private investment in clean energy. Think of you're a fund manager. You have a fiduciary responsibility to your clients to generate the best returns. Knowing the WTO is going to eliminate fossil fuels, are you going to invest in fossil fuels? No, you're going to invest in clean energy, knowing that they are supporting that transition. You're going to want to ride the bandwagon that is triggered by this WTO program. And in fact, private investment will dominate the funding. By my numbers, nearly $60 trillion will come from the private sector, only about $10 trillion from the WTO surcharge on global trade. So it's a way to get the ball rolling. So the final step, refine the plan, get the smartest economists to run their models, figure out the exact numbers, convene under the auspices of the WTO, agree on a plan, and get the ball rolling to eliminate fossil energy by 2030. So thank you for your interest. I'm Phil Kithill, CEO of AtMotion. You can reach me at the phone number and email shown on the screen. I'd love to hear your comments, and if you have a better plan, I'd love to hear that too. Thanks again.